Hello and welcome to the Beyond Borders podcast. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us again. We'll be speaking with Mr. David Schnitt. He's joining us here as President and CEO of Offsite Office. Welcome to Beyond Borders, David. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Offsite Office. Tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into outsourcing, and then give us a brief description of Offsite Office and the services that you offer.
Yeah, thank you. So just a bit on my background. I actually spent most of my career as a management consultant working for Deloitte. And during my tenure there, I helped a lot of companies reorganize and streamline their back offices. And frequently we would set up new operations centers for them, re-engineer all of their processes, implement automation to try and streamline things. And we would generally save clients at least 50% versus their current costs, but more importantly, help them perform those processes better. And those were a lot of back office processes around accounting and finance and HR and IT and other processes that all companies have to do. But because nobody's in business to do those things themselves, except of course us, we find that a lot of companies could definitely benefit from somebody else helping them with that. And then another thing that we find is that a lot of companies, because of their scale, are not able to fully be efficient in those back office processes. If you look at what a very large company spends, say a company over $10 billion in revenue, compared to a mid-size up to, $1 billion in revenue, or even smaller, they spend anywhere from 3 to 5 times as a percentage of revenue what a large company would spend in these areas, and generally are not as efficient. So there's a lot of opportunity for improvement, and that's what we try to help our clients with.
Is any company eligible or able to utilize outsourcing as an option? Is that something that is a good fit for any company, large or small? Or is there a bit of vetting to make sure that someone doesn't step into something that they're not ready for?
It's a good question because people sometimes think, oh, my company's too small, or then they think, oh, my company's too large. But the reality is we have clients from companies that are over 50 billion in revenue to ones that are under, 100 or even under $50 million in revenue. And while a lot of companies are focused on companies substantially smaller than that, which is really not our market focus, we find that, companies of any size can benefit from this. And especially the smaller of a company that you are, it's really hard to attract good talent these days. Larger companies can pay more, and larger companies have, pretty large recruiting arms that help them attract talent. But if you're a small company and you don't really, have a name brand, which most don't, it's not easy to find good people. So, we help companies of all sizes. It really doesn't matter.
Is Offsite Office a company that offers a wide variety of services and help, or are you specialized with just a few types, say finance and IT, for instance?
Yeah, most of the work that we do is on the finance and accounting side. And it's really everything from controllers to assistant controllers, senior accountants, staff accountants, and everything in between. But we also have clients where we're providing different people to do administrative assistant work, tax work, call center work. So it really, specifically around HR, we actually do a lot of HR call center work. So it really just depends on, what the client was looking for, and some IT work as well. But again, it's more back office related things that we focus on.
Does Offsite Office already have the talent, or do you find yourself recruiting talent for your client?
Sometimes a bit of both. Because of our growth, generally we're recruiting when a client has a need. But having said that, we're generally able to find some people, fairly quickly we've been successful in, getting people within a few weeks in many cases of need. But it depends on the size and the skill set. Obviously, the more specialized skills people are looking for, that will generally take longer. Or if they want a lot of people. So, for example, the year before last, a client asked us to find 200 people for them for one project. And, that took, 3 to 4 months to get everybody with the right talent for that particular client.
Now, where are you based as far as Offsite Office? Are you based in the United States? Do you have a very wide geographical reach?
So we're headquartered in Los Angeles, California. We work with clients globally. Most of our clients, however, are in North America, U.S. and Canada. And our offices are in Manila in the Philippines and Chennai, India. And that's where we have most of our folks that are doing the work for our clients.
We're talking outsourcing, offshoring. Are there interchangeable terms with Offsite Office?
That's a really, really good question. People tend to confuse the terms, but we really look at it as very different sorts of things. So one, Offsite Office is primarily providing talent to clients, where clients manage those folks as part of their internal teams. So if you think about somebody CFO as an example, they will ask us to provide a team to work with their accounting team, and they work as an integral part of their operations. They just happen to be sitting in our office in Manila in that case. So that's really offshoring, is really what that is. Outsourcing is where we get hired by a client to re-engineer, automate, and manage a defined process or set of processes. So an example of that would be accounts payable. So we have a client, as an example, that's a $4 billion distributor in the New York area, and we have a team that manages their entire AP process from invoice receipt all the way through disbursement and customer service and issue resolution. So they're really, both are offshore in terms of the people doing the work, but one is really more outsourcing, is where, we are managing that for the client to achieve a specific set of service levels and goals.
Talk about how you retain your employees. You make them happy while at the same time satisfying your clients' needs.
Well, one of the biggest issues facing companies today is the inability to find good talent. And that's especially true in terms of accounting and finance talent. The number of accounting grads has gone down by 25% in the last 4 years. The number of accountants who are retiring in the next decade, I think about 3/4 of accountants are actually retiring in the next decade. So there's a lot of pressure to be able to find good talent in that area. So we're able to find really good talent in both of our locations, and that talent, especially on the accounting side, these are folks who are trained in U.S. Accounting rules and regulations, have excellent English skills, and we find that attrition is a lot lower than it is here in the U.S. because people overseas are really excited to work with U.S. companies and learn from them. So they tend to stick around much longer than folks hired here at home.
Give us a website where our listeners can learn more, and any other contact information that you can provide, if you would. Our
website for our offshoring business, Offsite Office, is www.offsiteoffice.com. And then for our outsourced business, it's www.iqbackoffice.com.
David, thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond Borders. Hopefully you'll return.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Beyond Borders podcast. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Mr. David Schnitt, President and CEO of Offsite Office. Find out more at verticalinternetmedia.com and our BPO services at www.outsourcingfit.com.